We're like hyperimage or something.
We suck.
This is Paul. He's the creative director. I'm Jeremy. I'm the president. And this is Matías. He's our director of art and design. And we're doing like a little expository interview.
And I'm allergic to light, by the way.
That's right. There's a lot of lights. If you see a pained expression, it's just the light.
So how'd you guys get started?
Paul, you want to take this?
How we got started. All right. Once upon a time, I had a lot of money, and I wanted to do something cool with it. And I was hanging around with Jeremy at that point, and he knew all about SGIs, and I wanted to get an SGI and do freelance graphics work. And it turned out neither of us knew enough about that to do it. And then we discovered we knew video games and we could do them. Well, kind of.
So we kind of like got together in my apartment and
Very small 2-bedroom apartment, by the way.
and put together a couple guys and started. We actually pulled in. I'd met Ottavio, his younger brother, before I'd met Paul, and so we pulled O in as a programmer, and Paul, O, and I started working on Super Nintendo stuff, and we ended up moving over to the Jaguar because it was pretty much the coolest thing out, and started writing Hover Hunter, and that's pretty much how we got started. And now we're in this wonderful house, getting lots of stuff done, right?
Yeah. We get all kinds of stuff done.
So
how do you like programming on the Jaguar?
Jaguar's really cool to program on. It's a lot of fun, definitely. It's a little tricky. There's not too much. A lot of people talk about the Jaguar's learning curve, and I don't know, I don't buy that. But it does. You have to definitely get used to programming multiple processors. But beyond that, it's really cool.
I think we have an advantage in that O is a freak and he loves nothing but assembly.
Anything I don't want to do, I push it off onto Paul's brother. But basically, I still think that what we're doing right now, as far as the interpolated landscapes, probably couldn't be pulled off on anything else that's currently out right now. We could definitely get really close and do other things that are completely different and arguably better or whatever. But this current interpolated landscape, the smoothness and all that stuff is pretty particular to the Jag, the way that the tri-color model works, and we're using multiple processors and all that fun stuff.
And how do you position the Jag's power versus what's coming out now? It's like the Sony and Sega.
We don't really know
Power
too much
of the
about
Jag.
them. Yeah.
That's a very political question.
Yeah.
I mean, does it have enough to still keep up in the
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
generation?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the price is going to be a good
Yeah,
point.
with the price that there's rumors going around now of it coming down to 100, and don't take that as official for me. We don't talk to Atari enough to know these sort of things, but if the price comes down to 100 and lots of good games come
I
out
think at
for it, the
149
Jag
even still.
absolutely has.
What's the
a
Saturn's
good
announced
chance.
price right now? $399.
400, yeah.
Well, they're
Wow.
selling Super Nintendos and Jennies at 100 right now, so
Yeah.
it's quite competitive there.
Yeah, cool.
So how's the current release or your current game being, where are you at with it right now?
We're about half done right now, basically. We got the engine is locked down, networking is locked down. When I say the engine, I mean like the graphics part of the engine and the tile editors. We got all of our internal tools done. So basically what we're looking at now is enemy AI and a little bit more sound stuff, and then just a lot of design work.
Kicking in all the level designs. All the structure is there to support the levels, and a lot of design has been done, but it has to actually happen now and get together.
And as Matías will tell you, it's a lot more than just beyond putting together the levels. We still have all the dynamics of play to put together. Just
a lot has been worked with, but it's, we've been learning how to do this. Like, nobody's ever done this before, so we got to learn how to do it as cool, the coolest we can anyway. So we've done a lot of stuff. It's all going to be even better in the end.
What cool features are you looking to put into the game?
Well,
those are interpolated landscapes, first of all, that you should explain, because anybody that wasn't at the E3 or doesn't understand
yeah,
this
I guess
sort of
basically we started out, Hover Hunter started out, originally it started out as an overhead shooter, but
for the Super Nintendo.
when we started doing Hover Hunter for the Jag, we decided to do it with height fields, which is really similar to techniques. Like if you've ever seen Comanche on the PC or in other games like Cyber Race on the PC, height fields are basically a big. If you ever seen like F-Zero on the Super Nintendo, it's like F-Zero with heights. So basically, you've just got a lot of rectangular prisms that are like a nice smooth landscape. But the problem is,
clear.
yeah, I guess I'm still.
It's essentially one big flat texture map. But instead of being a flat texture map, each pixel has its own height value also, so it can be a certain height off of the floor of the texture map. And that way you can set every single pixel on the landscape to have a different height, so that you can have perfectly smooth, fully textured.
And the problem with it is
landscapes.
that we found
Not
was
smooth.
it's not that smooth when you get up close to it. If you get up close to it, it's like if you look in Doom or anything like that, where you have a relatively real-time texture map environment. You get up close and you've got
The
big,
pixels get
big,
really
nasty
big.
pixels. So Otavio implemented interpolated height fields, which basically, instead of blowing up the pixels really big, we just do it's basically like a real-time blur or interpolation or anti-aliasing or whatever you want to call it.
Makes
so
it look like Garo shading.
Yeah, so basically we pull off a really nice, completely smooth, we can keep zooming in on it, keep getting close to it, and you just won't see any kind of pixelation, which is really cool. And we just pulled that off about, I'd say 2 days before the E3. So if you see any current footage of Hover Hunter, unfortunately a lot of the landscapes haven't been designed to take advantage of the...
Yeah, all the landscapes were in evolution because we're trying to learn how to make them look as good as we can, and it was all an evolution for the old height field technique. The interpolation brings in a new set of problems, and so we got lucky in that one landscape looked really good and the other one just looked really bad.
But he's working on it, right?
Working on it.
Cool.
All the landscapes are Matías' fault. He's done all the landscapes so far.
And how's the game going to play? Is it a simulator more, you want it to be more realistic than like a hover strike?
I think it's kind of...
It's a simulation.
Yeah, we're running this version.
It's hybrid.
It'll be a fun
it's a simulation, but it's action-based. It's like a simulation because you don't run around and collect power-ups and happy faces and invincibility bonuses. Okay, so it's realistic in that sense. But it's not gonna be like you wander around for half an hour, get a lock on something and shoot and fly home. It's action-based, run around, blow everything up.
We don't want you to have to look for the bad guys in terms of having to look for something to do. The game should be constantly moving. We're trying to set it to be a fast-paced kind of action game.
Like Doom, Cyber Sled, and Wing Commander.
Oh, there you go. There's the influence list.
Frame rate is a high priority.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Anything that even hopes to have fast action has to keep up a decent frame rate.
Yep.
Absolutely agree.
And that's the main thing we're designing. Now, the basic premise behind the Hover Hunter and the whole interface and what you're doing in the game is the hovercrafts don't have any windows or anything. That would be kind of a stupid idea. It's entirely armored. There's sensors and stuff that give you your view of the outside world, and you're wearing a helmet that has a visor that projects you on the inside. So it works with the whole VR concept, and we saw the new Jag VR set up at the E3, and we're definitely supporting that.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Very much like that.
Well-
But yeah, I guess the idea we're shooting for, one of the things we're tossing around right now is that what you see on your TV is your heads-up display, is your monitor. It's not, you don't see any goofy cockpit graphics around the edge. That is your monitor. You could build your fort around your...
You could build
around
yourself
your
a
TV.
home cockpit for
Yeah,
Hover
exactly.
Hunter and be completely immersed in the environment.
That's the idea.
Or you could put it on your Jaguar VR setup and not have a
Yeah.
goofy little cockpit floating around.
Yeah, so I guess that's the idea behind the way we wanted to do that.
What about the networking? Because I guess we
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
talk too much, because that's really
Network games are
important.
it. Network games are
Absolutely.
the future. Anybody who's played 4-player network Doom death matches knows that. And that's one of the main reasons I'm in it, is to make fun networkable games that you can play against other people, because playing against the computer just gets boring after a while, no matter how good the computer is or how much fun it is.
Sure. So basically, right now we've got head-to-head networking working pretty stably. Unfortunately, I broke it a little bit for the E3, but I mean, we had anybody who was at the E3. If you mentioned networking, I gave you a demo of the little head-to-head action. But basically, we're going to be going for a cooperative kind of mode where you get to blow the crap out of your friends. And beyond that, and beyond that, we're really that's the kind of networking stuff we're supporting. We're currently supporting the JagLink, which is just a head-to-head link-up cable that's going to be coming out from Atari sometime in the future.
Catnet.
Catnet, we're 100% supporting. RS-232 with the Cat box, we're supporting. Right now, there's no plans to support the voice modem or Haze modems, but if we get enough feedback on that.
And while we'd like to make the game as cool as possible, we'd also like to get it out before next Christmas.
Yeah. Speaking of the release date, we're currently shooting for a real late summer release right now. So hopefully we'll have that sucker out as soon as possible. But definitely we're gonna pull the game and have it go a little bit longer if it needs.
We're not gonna rush it. We're not gonna spit it out real quick if we're down to the wire and we want to meet a deadline. We're gonna make sure the game is cool before we get it out.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be a problem.
Oh, and the 2 meg cart thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're keeping it down to a 2 meg cart for
Yeah.
price reasons.
For
because-
you, the consumer.
That's right, we want this thing to be damn
we're in
cheap.
it for you.
That's about it.
Great. Well, I'm sure AEO and all of its viewers really appreciate your efforts, and hopefully we'll see some really great games coming out soon.
Cool?
Yep.
Later.